Congratulations everyone! Now we are in fourth quarter. Our first module is all about the judging the relevance and worth of ideas, soundness of authors' reasoning, and the effectiveness of the presentation. So we will start on page number 1. And objectives for this module: evaluate the relevance and worth of ideas presented in the material, react critically to assertions made by a speaker or writer, and discover literature as a means of having a better understanding of human beings and their environment. So in what I know part, write F if only sentence A expresses a fact. Write A if only sentence B expresses a fact. Write C if both sentences express facts. Write T if both sentences express opinion. Then write your answer on a separate sheet of paper. So we have 2 sentences in each number. The first sentence A, then the second sentence will be letter B. So if only letter A is correct, then you will write F. Then if only letter B is correct, you will write letter A. And if they are both correct, you will write letter C. But if they not really a fact and it's just an opinion, they are both an opinion, then they will or you will answer letter D. So the issue: English could soon become the principal medium of instruction in all levels. Then the target respondents will be grade 9 students in your school. The survey form, you will read that. Then you will write your name, gender, age, and date. Then, so if that will be the data, kindly answer this question. 6, is the objective clearly stated? 7, is the issue to be surveyed clearly stated? 8, are there specific target respondents? Are the instruction clear, direct, and specific? 10, is there a proper identification of the group making the survey? So you will base your answer on what you have understood here. So it can be yes or no. Then directions: read the following text and evaluate the soundness of the writer's reasoning. Put a check mark if the reasoning is valid and X if it's not valid, based on the arguments presented. So when we say reasoning, it is how supported the given idea. So if you think that this is valid, it's correct, it's cited very, very valid and credible sources, then you will put a check mark. But if you think that it's not, it is invalid, then you will have the cross mark. So you will do it 11 to 15. So for what's in, read the situations below, then choose the letter of the statements that shows relevance to the situation presented. So we have here, in each number, we have situation. Then there will be a question. Then based on the situation that you have read, you will answer the questions by choosing the most valid solution to that situation. So we have the note here that genocide, it means the deliberate and systematic destruction of racial, political, or cultural group. So again, we have situation here. For example, number 1, Khalil, a grade 9 student, tells his social studies teacher that he should not have to study genocide because it is not relevant to his life. If you were the teacher, what would you say as a valid explanation? So based on the given situation, you will choose the most valid answer that the teacher may give to Khalil. Is it letter A, B, C, or D? The same process will be done the following number until number 5. For what's new, read the text below. and find out the author's opinion influences how she presents her subject matter. Then answer the questions that follow by writing the letter of your answer. So it is entitled I'm Glad I Was Born Poor by Nilda G. Milan. So it is having, or the introductory part is, education is the most powerful tool to combat poverty and eradicate social injustice. So there are bold letters here, hard work and dedication. Then there is repetition. I'm glad I was born poor. I'm glad I was born poor. Then the poverty. So based on on the comprehension, on your comprehension after reading that, you will answer this. So why do you think the writer says, I'm glad I was born poor? So you will choose the correct letter of your answers. For what is it, or the discussion proper? Judging the relevance and worth of ideas, soundness of authors' reasoning, and the effectiveness of the presentation. Authors have opinions that influence how they present their subject matter. Sometimes an author slants facts towards his or her personal beliefs. As a reader, it is useful to recognize the ways in which an author uses bias to slant a piece of writing. It is also important to distinguish between a fact and opinion so you can detect whether the information is correct or not. A fact is a truth. A fact is a statement of truth that can be verified and can be proven as true. On the other hand, an opinion is a statement that reflects an author's or the speaker's point of view, beliefs, perspective, personal feelings, and values. Opinions cannot be verified and proven to be true or false. So when we say judging the relevance, it is the responsibility of the reader how he or she will evaluate what she is reading. Because sometimes not all, or maybe we can say that as we read, we should be mindful of what should we believe in, and are the sources credible, are the sources valid? Because if they are not valid, then probably the message is not really sounding good or not properly explained and reasoned because of poor or weak use of sources. So we should be careful of that. Then read the brief passage below and identify the fact and opinion. Research has indicated that a person's pulse rate, blood pressure, and respiratory rate increase when the person is under stress. All people, therefore, should do stress management techniques on a daily basis. So the fact in the above statement is a person's pulse rate, blood pressure, and respiratory rate increase when the person is under stress, because it's proven true, because all or most of us are pressured, are stressed. If they are stressed, then they will really have increase of blood pressure, pulse rate, and respiratory rate. It's really proven, like you are nervous, like that. But the opinion in the above statement is all people therefore should do stress management techniques on a daily basis. It's a subjective, because even though we will not do it in a daily basis, we can still manage, or we should have it, but not, or maybe probably not daily, but it is depending on how we are available in doing that, in practicing that, as long as there is an effective practice. It is also important that as a reader or listener, you should also learn how to react critically and emotionally to issues raised and assertions made by a speaker or writer. When reacting critically to what you read, judge the relevance and worth of the ideas presented, the soundness of the author's reasoning, and the effectiveness of the presentation of the topic being discussed. When we say relevance, it means important to the matter at hand. To judge the relevance of the material, ask the following questions. Does the information relate to your research question? How complete is the information? Does it still reflect the present situation? Is the information correct? Are factual descriptions correct and based on hard facts? Are opinions supported by facts? Is it a fake news? So when we say relevance, first of all, you should know the relationship of what you are reading and your purpose or your target aim. Because if they are not related, for example, the topic is about bullying, online bullying, which is rampant in today's new education, new normal education, then if you will have related studies or articles about your aim, your target, which is all about online bullying, therefore it should be connected. You will not get about economic crisis. You will not get about issues about China Sea or the West Philippine Sea, like that. Because if it's not really related, if it's not connected, then why should you include that? As simple as that. Because one of the good elements of a short or maybe short essay is oneness, the unity or coherence of your thoughts. On the other hand, an argument reasoning is sound if it's both valid, informed, or it makes sense. Consider the following questions. What do you notice about the structure of the essay? How does it begin? What is included in the body, paragraphs? How does the essay end? So when we say sound or sounding the author's reasoning, we should also look to the sources. Or how does it begin? Or does the essay begin with sources, credible resources, by showing facts, statistics, or any evidences? How does the essay end? What are the following or supporting details to support the reasoning of the author to make the readers believe in his points or in her points? So arguments should begin and end with a claim. Each body paragraph should contain one sound reason that supports the claim, with evidence that is related to and relevant to the reason. So again, when you see relevance, the connection, and connection to your aim, and connection to the truthfulness, to the truth, to the fact. Because if they are not connected with the fact, therefore it will never be useless. So it's very vital as a writer to really connect the relationship of a particular text to the truth or to the fact. So we have our example here. I'm glad I was born poor. This paradoxical statement simply tells that poverty, if taken positively, is not a deterrent to success. Had I been born with a silver platter, I wouldn't have been where I am now, a teacher. Then moreover, if an argument is sound, the conclusion must be true. Analyze the sample syllogism below. So when we say syllogism, a deductive scheme of a formal argument consisting of a major and a minor premises and a conclusion. When we say premise, something taken as being true or factual. So premise 1, every virtue is laudable. Premise 2, kindness is a virtue. Conclusion, therefore, kindness is laudable. So we can see the relationship between the terms. We have the virtue, laudable, kindness, and virtue again. So if every virtue is laudable, so all virtues are laudable, and one of the virtues that we have is kindness, therefore kindness is laudable. So that will be the conclusion based on the premises that we have. In this example, 1 and 2 and the conclusion are true, therefore the argument is sound and valid. So we can determine that it's sound or valid because they are connected with one another, they support one another. When it comes to presentations, a written work can be judged using the following points. Number 1, appropriateness. Are the materials used suited to the assertions made by the speaker? For example, when a speaker makes assertions on technology innovations, are televisions and recordings appropriate to use? So when you see appropriateness, if the materials being used are really effective or really suited, that really lead to the targeting the aim. So effectivity, do the materials support the speaker's assertion? Do they facilitate better understanding of the assertions? So when we say effectivity, meaning because of that materials, we can really achieve the goal. For example, your goal is to persuade. So is that material effective to persuade or to influence other people? Then if yes, it's effective. So when we say clarity, understandable, organized. So when we say clarity, it's the is and understanding a particular text. So when we say clarity, the clearness or how clear it is for the reader. Effective, are the materials really effective? So appropriateness, effectivity, clarity, they are interconnected, because if it's not appropriate, then it will not be effective. Then if it's not effective or if it's not really clear to readers, then it will not be effective. So they are interconnected to one another. So I hope you learned from this module. So we will start our activity. So for what's more, independent activity 1, relevance check. Read the given slogans. Choose 5 items which are relevant to the essay about the ill effects of any kind of addiction. Write the letter of your answer on separate sheet of paper. So based on addiction, any kind of addiction or ill effects, meaning the bad effects, the really negative effects of any kind of addiction. So you will have it here. So you will just choose 5. Then for independent assessment 1, survey says, accomplish the survey form. To evaluate the text, I'm glad I was born poor. Use the 3-point scale below. Choose the number of your answer. So what can you say about the ideas presented? 3, very relevant. 2, slightly relevant. 1, not relevant. 2, are the writer's points sound or agreeable? 3, yes. 2, slightly. 1, no. 3, do you find her presentation easy to read, effective, and interesting? 3, very effective. 2, slightly effective. Then 1, not effective. For independent activity 2, fact or opinion. So when you say fact, meaning it is really pure truthfulness. So no any bias or prejudice. When we say opinion, you are giving your own viewpoints, therefore it might be true to you, but to some people not. So it's not a pure truth. So you will read the numbered text below, then identify if it's a fact or an opinion. Write F if the statement is a fact, then O if it's an opinion. So think globally. So we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences. Then is number 1 sentence fact or opinion? Then you will determine if it's a fact or opinion. So remember what I have explained about the definitions about these two. So for independent assessment 2, read and reflect, react. Read the tone below and assess the effectiveness in the presentation of ideas. Write the letter of your answer on a separate sheet of paper. So we have here the written composition of Joselito G. Milan, I Make a Difference. So after reading this, you will answer these questions based on what you have understood here. So you have your choices, and based on this, after reading this, you will read the question, then you will choose the answers by identifying the correct letter. Then sound conclusion. To test your sound reasoning ability, 2 statements are given, and these statements are followed by 2 conclusions, numbered 1 and 2. Read the conclusions and then decide which of the given conclusions logically follow from the 2 given statement. Write the letter of your answer. So you will write letter A if only one of the first conclusion follows, B if only two conclusion follows, C if both 1 and 2 follow, neither 1 nor 2 follows, then E both 1 and 2 follow. I think letter C and E are same. If both 1 and 2 follows, then both 1 and 2 follow. So they are the same. So you will just simply choose from A, B, C, and D. So we have here two statements in each number. For example, in number 1, some singers or some actors are singers. And then the second one, all the singers are dancers. So based on that, you will evaluate if the conclusions are really connected to the given statements. So based on the given statements, we will identify if the conclusions are valid. I hope you got it. So for example, some actors are singers, all the singers are dancers. We have conclusions, some actors are dancers, no singer is actor. So some actors are dancers, no singer is actor. Because some actors are singers, therefore all the singers are dancers. So if all singers are dancers, therefore some actors are dancers. Then the first conclusion will be right. Then no singer is actor. No singer, but we have here some actors are singers. But here no singer is actor. Therefore it is no. It's not correct. So 1 is correct, then 2 is not. Then the answer will be A. Only 1 or the first conclusion follows. I hope you understand it. So it's up until number 5. So for independent assessment 3, read and assess. Read the text below and assess the information it contains using the checklist that follows. Write number 1 to 3 on a separate sheet of paper. So you will just, if it's highly informative, you will assess the given text. What I have learned. After accomplishing all the activities, you have learned how to evaluate the reading material. Write your realization about the lesson below. So what did you learn? You will just complete these statements. I have learned that if a student like me knows how to judge the relevance and worth of ideas presented, I become, or what do you think is the advantage of knowing and mastering this competency? Ability to weigh whether the reasoning is sound or not helps me too. Also another advantages of having the ability to balance or to evaluate the reasoning if it's sound or not. And for what I can do, read closely to the arguments presented in the following controversial issues in our society. Then assume that you are an advocate advocate to human and animal welfare and safety. So you can judge which of the two arguments has a sound reasoning. So you will just choose which of the argument really has a good sound reasoning. So on abortion, what do you think? Is it A or B? Animal cruelty, A or B? COVID vaccine, A or B? Then same as for A or B. The assessment, identify the sentence that is not relevant to the paragraph. So we have sentences in each number. Then in each number, you will identify the sentence which is not really connected to the rest of the sentences in a paragraph. For example, number 2 is not really connected. Then you will just answer 2. It is representing that it's the number 2 or the second sentence is not really appropriate, it's not really connected to the paragraph. Then for 6 to 9, cigarettes, or read the passage below, then identify which statement states a fact and which statements an opinion. Write the letter of your answer. So we have here sentences, sentence A, sentence B, then you will just identify which is fact and opinion. Then for C, determine whether the reasoning in the following statements is sound or not. Write S if it's sound reasoning and NS if it's not sound reasoning. So from the given situation, what if it's really suited, if it's really connected and really valid, really sounding good, appropriate to the given situation, then you will write S. Then if it's not, then you will write MS. For additional activity, choose one from the 4 controversial issues given, then write a 3-paragraph composition on the issue. Take into consideration the relevance, presentations, and sound reasoning as you state your arguments. Include positions supported by facts. So we have here 4. You will just choose one. Then you will make 3 paragraphs about that. Then you have to include if you agree or not, then support it by facts. Remember, you should include your sources, evidences, statistics, or information that will really support and strengthen your stand. Then we have the rubrics for writing. 1, the content. The paragraphs clearly show relevance and sound reasoning supported by facts. So if your paragraphs are really strong because it supported one another, then you will get 5 points. Then presentation of ideas, if it's clear, logical, arranged, then you will have 5 points. Then mechanics, the grammar, the indentation, capitalization, spelling, therefore you will get 5 points. So I hope you learned from the first module of 4th quarter. And if you have still questions, you are free to message your English teacher. Have a nice day, goodbye, and stay safe. God bless.